Do you have amazing Lego sets but nowhere to properly show them off? Today I'm sharing my top tips and creative ideas for displaying your Lego sets in ways that make them look as incredible as they deserve. So whether you've got a small collection or an entire Lego room, these tips will help you organise, protect and highlight your favourite builds. Let's get into it. And the first step is choosing the right space for your display. You want to be looking for areas with good lighting, stable surfaces, and plenty of room to expand your collection as it grows. Shelves, bookcases, or even a dedicated display cabinet can work wonders. And then for larger collections, modular shelving units like the IKEA Kallax are perfect because they can be customized to fit different sized sets. As you can tell from what I'm surrounded by, I am lucky enough to have a Lego room of my own, which is probably the messiest and least organised area of my collection. It's very much a work in progress, and it always is. There's always half-built sets, stuff that needs putting away. If I was showing off my collection, it probably wouldn't be this room. So let's kind of look at some of the other stuff, which gives you a better feel for how it can be integrated into spaces that aren't necessarily dedicated for Lego. And I guess on the way out there, if we're talking about displaying Lego, we couldn't not recognise the awesome Speed Champions display wall. People always ask me about it. I'll once again link to the design for this down in the description below. It's based on a design by Hall of Fame builder, who's mainly on TikTok. He is here on YouTube as well. I'm not ever going to do a tutorial on how to do this because I bought his instructions and then just followed the guide. But if you want to do the same, I'll link to the instructions down below, and it certainly looks really cool. I thought that bit was popping through. It's not. What I was trying to show you was this. This is the one of several IKEA Kallax units that we've got in our house. This is one of the 3-box by 4-box units, so a little bit higher than it is wide, and is absolutely ideal for fitting that space. IKEA have these available in all sorts of different sizes. I think you can get as small as 1 box, 1 little cube. You can get them so they're much wider and shorter. You can also turn them around on their end as well, so you could have that 4 wide, 3 high if you wanted to. They don't necessarily have an up, down, a left or right. You display them how you want to display them, but these little cubby holes are big enough to fit some pretty decent size sets in there. Obviously we've got a pretty decent size with the Pac-Man set in there, and some more bigger sets in as well. They're also quite deep. You can see we can have 2 levels of depth in there. There's enough room to fit the table football thing in all the way, and then also display room on top of it as well. These ones are also IKEA units. I'll link to these down in the description below as well, the little glass cabinets. They give you even more room. The Optimus Prime set didn't fit in the Kallax. It was too high, but does just about fit in this one. You can see his head is just about touching the top of it, but he does fit. So for some of the taller sets, we like to put them in here. Or another IKEA option is the Billy bookcase. These aren't as wide. I've got a few of these scattered around the house. You only get the depth of 1 base plate on them. I don't actually have anything on a base plate on these at the moment, but you do just about have the depth for 1 base plate. You can go 2.5 base plates wide as well, so they're not ideal for displaying a Lego city, but you can see we have got quite a few sets displayed on them, and the great thing about the Billy is because you've got these little points all the way up, you can basically decide how high you want the shelves. So if you want more room for something like the Batcave, you can have more room, and then you can have a smaller gap for example, the Batmobile and Funko Pop that we've got on the level above. And then coming back into the Lego room, these shelves were bought specifically to hold the Lego City on, because they are 2 base plates deep. So it allows me to have the modulars running along the back in a street, and then have the road plates in front as well, which are very crowded and unfinished at the moment, but I can fit roads, train track, and a row of modulars because they are just over 60 centimetres deep. And that was the most important thing for me, to be able to have a shelf Lego city. These are from a website called Tougherman, and they're supposed to be able to carry an incredible amount of weight. I could sleep on one of these supposedly, which I don't necessarily want to test, but they are ideal for displaying the Lego City sets. And then tip number 2 is to keep your displays organised. And the organisation can be however you want it to be. It could be by theme, by size, by colour, however you want it to be. But obviously on my Lego City shelves, I have my Lego City stuff. I have my modulars, I have my cars, I have my trains, but I don't just randomly have a Star Wars set just right in the middle of the Lego City, because it would look bonkers. I mean, if your organisation is you want it to look bonkers, make it look bonkers. Put Star Wars in it. But I like keeping my sets roughly on theme. We've done it in my office as well. For example, in my office display, we've got most of the Batman stuff is in here. So we've got a lot of Batman over here, 3 shelves of Batman there. We've got some more Batman over here, who probably needs to move actually, because we've got my Mario shelf at the top, or we've got lots of Mario stuff all together. And then of course, my big Marvel display on this cabinet behind me in the office as well. Just keeping all of the sets that are part of the same theme together just makes it look like it's more intentionally designed and put together. And I just think it does look really, really cool. And there's no better example of sets looking cool because they're themed together than the closest set I've got to a finished Lego City Street, where we've got our rows of modulars, we've got our roads. Yes, they're a bit unfinished in places, but it looks like all that stuff is supposed to be together. It's the same with the Winter Village that I've been working on recently. It all matches together, and it just makes the display look that bit more coherent and cool. Tip 3 is to use lighting for maximum impact. And I've deliberately turned off the lights behind me for this one just to show you the difference it makes with the lights off, and then at the touch of the button we can get the lights back on again, and it just immediately all looks so much better when it's properly lit up and you can see everything that's in there. I've done that using some Elgato key light minis that I've attached to the underside of the cabinet. And for those of you who helped me do this through my shorts and through TikTok, we have finally secured the cables in as well, which is a big win. We use little command strip cable tie things to do that, but it just looks so much better properly lit up. You could do a similar effect with an LED strip, which would be a little bit cheaper. I did try and do that first and it didn't really work for me. But in addition to lighting the sets for display, you can also look into using lights within the sets as well. I've got a couple of Light My Brick sets that I'm going to be adding to the Marvel display in my office. Once I'm brave enough to do it, you have to disassemble the sets to put the lights in, but that's going to add another layer of displayability by having everything really cool and lit up, and I'm really eager to crack on with that. One thing to be aware of obviously is just make sure that the lights don't get too hot and risk damaging the Lego. These ones don't really give off a lot of heat, so it's absolutely fine, but you don't want to have like a big hot light bulb right next to Lego. Fire hazards, damage to sets, that kind of thing. Be careful with your lighting, you silly gooses. Tip 4 is to protect your sets. Not necessarily all of your sets, but you're going to want to protect some of your sets. One of my favourite sets is my Camp Nou Stadium. So that is in a massive display case because I don't want it to get damaged. I want it to stay super nice and in place. I do a similar thing with the Office set because with this one, I really wanted to have the minifigs actually like out and about doing stuff. I didn't want it to just be like a static looking set. I wanted things to be going on. We've got Kevin spilling his chili in there and everyone's moving, everybody's doing something. And in order to keep it nice like that, I wanted to keep it in a display case. And also with there being so many things scattered around it, cleaning this would be an absolute nightmare. You'd just be moving stuff around constantly every time you cleaned it. So by having it in the display case, it protects me from having to do that. But also we have a dog. So one of our solutions for protecting sets are these little covers that we have on this bottom level. We've actually got a few more. We're going to put these in all the way up. But again, they keep dog hair out. They keep him from knocking the sets over when he walks past on the way into my office. And they also help to keep the dust out as well, as do closing cabinets. So something like this, it magnetically shuts. So you've got a little magnet there, which is just going to keep the dust out of these sets and just keep them nicer for longer. We want our sets to stay nice for long. And then tip number 5 is to add some personality to your displays. Make it clear that they are yours. One of Anna's biggest criticisms of Lego cities in general and why she's not that interested in the Lego city is because she thinks they all look the same. And It's a fair argument. I mean, everyone has the same modulars, the same road plates, the same vehicles, the same trains. So you have to find ways to make them unique and different and yours. In my old Lego city before we moved here, and once I find the minifigs from one of the many boxes that are still in my storage unit, we'll be doing the same again here. But we had a rooftop Muppets band taking part in a concert on top of the jazz club. It was just a cool way to put a twist on it for me. Come into my office, because in here, as previously mentioned, I am a Batman guy, and I know Batman is not a Marvel character, but you're not going to have a superhero display in here without Batman being part of it. So Batman is there at the top of the Daily Bugle, keeping an eye on things, and wherever Batman is, the Joker will not be too far behind, and he's currently sneaking up on Batman. Goodness knows what he's got planned with that banana he's got in his hand. But little things like that just make the sets that little bit more personal to you. We have a similar thing going on here with the 1966 Batmobile, where we've got a Brickhead's Batman driving it. He obviously isn't part of the main set, but he drives that now. And I've also got a Robin that I need to assemble to sit next to him in there as well, which does need adding soon. We also from time to time have a Tyrannosaurus Rex riding a skateboard, although at the moment he's fallen off it, but that combines two of the Creative 3-in-1 sets. And one of my favourite combos is in here, where we've got Groot riding a Vespa that we brought back from Rome in Italy, and it's a really cool collection piece from when we were off on about on our travels, but I made it fun by having Groot ride it because he fits absolutely perfectly. Personalization, it's a great thing about Lego. You can rebuild and change stuff however you want it. Lego's very clever. And even in the Lego City, we've got the Lego City tour bus that came out earlier this year, and I've just broken it, but we'll fix that in a bit, because on top of it, we have one of the alien tourists from the Collector Minifig series from earlier this year, who, I mean, he's a sightseeing alien. Of course, he's going to go on the sightseeing bus. Why wouldn't he? And on that note, why wouldn't we have Harry Potter and Ron Weasley driving past a Bricklink Designer Programme train station next to a rebrickable version of the house from Sesame Street? It's all fun. You got to personalize these stuff, folks. We've got a building site with the Lego City building sets. I don't know why my Nutcracker has made it into the city. He probably needs to come out. That's an example of things looking out of place. But there's lots of fun little scenes that take place throughout the city. There'll be more the deeper we get into it all. We are still at the rebuilding stage of the Lego City, but expect more little stories to develop over time. And then my final bonus tip is for everybody who's watched this video and gone, that's all well and good, Kev, but you've got a Lego room and an office and a whole landing where you can put Lego on. I don't have the space for stuff like this. That's where bonus tip number 6 comes in, and that is rotate your displays. It's Lego. It doesn't have to go on the shelf and stay on the shelf forever. You can rebuild stuff, you can modify stuff, you can put sets away and get new sets out. It's what this table that you're currently sat on is for. This is my project table where throughout the year I will be having different displays that will appear and then disappear. At the moment, you can see we're working on building a winter village. There'll be a video update on this coming very soon. But once we get past Christmas, the winter village will be put away and something else will appear here. It might be a theme park, it might be a beach, it might be whatever it might be. I don't know what it's going to be yet, but it will rotate around. Similarly, on these shelves out here, there will come a time where all of this stuff moves, comes off here, might be rearranged, might go in there, might go somewhere else in the house, new sets might go in. Some of these sets might retire off to the storage unit. Stuff might stay in the storage unit for a year and then come out and go back on the shelves. It's Lego. It shouldn't just be static and stay the same forever. Because remember, the key that we're looking for here with all our Lego displays is to just get as much cool stuff out to look at as we possibly can, and then when it stops being cool, you stop having that wow factor, swap it, change it for something else, disassemble it and build something else. It's the real joy of Lego. But there we have it, folks. That's your lot. My top tips for displaying your Lego sets. Whether it's adding lighting, displaying by theme, protecting them, rotating them, these ideas will help you to show off your Lego collection in style. Now, which of these are you going to apply first to your Lego collection? Let me know down in the comments section what you plan on doing, and also share any extra tips on display that you might have. And while you're down there doing your admin, don't forget to leave a thumbs up on the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new, turn on the notification bell, and make sure you come back soon for more Lego content. Thanks for watching, folks.